This is part 14 of Angular CLI tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss linting TypeScript code. Angular has got a linting tool that checks our TypeScript code for any programmatic errors, stylistic errors, and non-adherence to coding standards and conventions. If you recollect, in one of our previous videos, we discussed about this file tslint.json. This is the configuration file for linting our TypeScript code, and if you look at this file, it contains all the default rules for linting our code. We'll discuss some of these rules in just a bit. For the purpose of this demo, I've created a new Angular project using this command ng new my new Angular project, and this project is successfully created, as you can see right here. And then I changed into the project and then open the project with Visual Studio Code. So the first thing that I want to do here is clear the screen, and then let's use the Angular CLI to lint our code. And here's the command for that, ng for Angular CLI itself, and then the command is lint. There we go. Look at the message. All files pass linting. So at the moment we don't have any linting errors. Now if you look at this Angular project, my new Angular project, this is a brand new Angular project that we have generated using the Angular CLI, and all the code that we have at the moment within this project is generated by the Angular CLI itself. And we know Angular CLI follows the Angular team's best practices and conventions to generate this code. So at the moment we don't have any linting errors. All files pass linting. But then we have got a warning here. Look at what the warning says. The no use before declare rule requires type checking. This is basically saying if this rule is enabled, it also requires type checking. To do type checking, we use --type-check option along with the ng-lint command, and we can find this rule within our linting configuration file, which is tslint.json, and we have that rule right here, no use before declare, and its value at the moment is true, which means it is enabled. So when this rule is enabled, it also requires type checking. So we use ng-lint command and then this option --type-check. Notice now we don't have that warning anymore. Now let's understand what this rule actually means. No use before declare. This rule disallows usage of variables before their declaration. Let's understand this with an example. Let's flip over to Visual Studio Code and let's go to our root component, which is inside this app folder, and we have this file app.component.ts. we have our app component class. So within this class, I'm actually going to paste a very simple method. The name of the method is say hello, and we have got a variable here, message, and we initialize that with this word hello. And then to that we are appending pragim on the next line, and we are logging whatever we have got in that variable to the console. So a very simple method. Let's save our changes and then run the linting command once again. Notice now we have lint errors. So we have a linting error in this file app.component.ts on line number 12 and column 5. So if we look at line number 12 and column 5, it's right here. So basically on this line we are declaring a variable using the var keyword, and if you look at what this linting error says, it says forbidden var keyword, use let or const instead. Now within our linting configuration file, that is in this tslint.json, we have a rule called no var keyword, and notice by default that rule is enabled. So that's why we are forbidden from using the var keyword to declare a variable. For a moment, let's actually turn off this rule by changing its value to false, save our changes, and then let's go ahead and run our ng-lint command once again. Notice now we don't have any linting errors. All files pass linting. Let's make a small change within our say hello method. All I'm going to do here is move these two lines of code after console.log statement. So basically what we are trying to do here is use this variable message before it's actually declared on line number 13. So let's save our changes, and now when we run ng-lint command, our rule no use before declare should fail because we are trying to use this variable before it is declared. So now let's run the ng-lint command once again. There we go. Notice we have lint errors as expected. Look at the error, variable message used before declaration, and we know what to do to fix this error. All we have to do is declare this variable message before it's actually used by moving these two lines of code just above our console.log statement. Let's save our changes and then run the lint command once again. All files pass linting as expected. Now as far as this rule is concerned, that is this rule, no use before declare, it makes sense to have this rule enabled only if we have this rule, no var keyword, is disabled. Now one important point to keep in mind is only variables declared with var keyword are accessible even before they are declared. Let me explain what I mean. Let's flip back to our say hello method, and if I cut these two lines of code from this say hello method, we get a red squiggly under the message variable, and if I hover the mouse over, we get the message that we expect. Cannot find name message. We haven't declared that, so the compiler doesn't know about it. But the moment I paste these two lines back, the red squiggly goes away. And look at this, even before we have declared this variable, we are using it. And that's technically okay with variables declared using the var keyword. So variables declared with var keyword are accessible even before they are declared. Is this the case with let keyword? Let's look at that. Now instead of using var, let's use the let keyword to declare a variable. And we still have the red squiggly there. And when I hover the mouse over that red squiggly, look at what the message says. Block scoped variable message used before its declaration. So variables declared with let keyword are not accessible before they are declared. Now if I move the declaration before its usage, then we wouldn't have that red squiggly there. So the summary is, since we know only variables declared with var keyword are accessible before they are declared, and since we also know this rule, no var keyword, is enabled out of the box, we can safely disable this rule, no use before declare. And when this rule is disabled, we don't have to use this option type check always when we use the ng-lint command. Let's quickly look at this in action. Let's enable no var keyword and disable no use before declare rule, save our changes, and then run our ng-lint command without the type check option. There we go. All files pass linting as expected, and in spite of us not using this type check option along with the ng-lint command, we didn't get that warning we used to get. The no use before declare rule requires type checking because we have this rule disabled. So to lint code using the Angular CLI, use this command ng-lint. Now if we look at this tslint.json file, it has got many linting rules within it. In our next video, we'll discuss some of the common linting rules within this tslint.json file, and we will also discuss some of the common options that we can use with this ng-lint command. Thank you for listening and have a great day.